2 weeks into retirement, a viewer wrote this: I'm enjoying this period of discovery and determining who I am outside of my career and my job title. I would love to see a video on how retired people can engage in their communities and find enjoyable social activities. I read that and thought, she gets it. She really gets it, because that sentence describes something that most retirement planning content never touches. You can be completely financially prepared for retirement and still feel utterly unprepared for the silence where your calendar used to be. For the Monday morning that belongs entirely to you and you have no idea what to do with it. Today's video is for her and for everyone else standing in that same doorway. We're talking about how to build a genuinely rich, connected, purposeful social life in retirement. Not a list of hobbies, not a bulletin board of senior center activities. A real framework for finding your people, discovering your purpose, and designing a life that feels as full and meaningful as the one you just left, maybe more so. Welcome to Designing Retirement. I'm Elle, a retired attorney, former art gallery owner, and someone who has navigated this exact territory twice. If you're new here, this channel is for people who have spent years building their careers and now want to design what comes next with intention, with clarity, and with joy. If that's you, subscribe and stay close. This is exactly the kind of conversations we often have here. Let's start with what's actually happening beneath the surface when you retire. For most of your adult life, your job, your career, did something that had nothing to do with your paycheck. It gave you structure, status, community, and identity, often all at once. And when someone asked, "Who are you?" at a dinner party, you had an instant answer. Executive, business owner, attorney, teacher, plumber. That answer did a lot of invisible work for you. Retirement removes that answer, and for a lot of people, even people who are genuinely ready to leave work, the removal of that easy identifier feels disorienting in ways they didn't anticipate. Not because they missed the job necessarily, but because the job was the container for so much of their social life. Colleagues, teams, communities, even the casual rhythm of daily human contact. The person at the coffee shop, the receptionist in the lobby, all of that disappears on the same day. It's all normal. It's not a crisis. It's an invitation. The question isn't, who am I without my career? The question is, who do I get to become now that my career is no longer the whole answer? That reframe changes everything. In my experience, my own and through conversations with hundreds of people in this transition, there are 3 primary pathways to genuine community in retirement. Not activities, pathways. Because the goal isn't to fill your calendar. The goal is to find your people. The first pathway is contribution. This is where you take what you know, everything you've built over your career, and you put it in service of something larger than yourself. Volunteering, mentoring, board service, civic engagement. The woman who left that comment, she's already doing this instinctively. She said she's discovering her purpose in helping others in her community. That instinct is worth following. And here's what I want you to hear. Contribution is different from charity, and it's not self-sacrifice. It's one of the most reliable pathways to meaning, connection, and joy that exists in human experience. When you show up somewhere and you matter, when your presence makes something better, that fills something in you that a paycheck never could. This has certainly been true for me. Early on, I got involved in my high school reunion planning committee, and I reconnected with friends I hadn't communicated with in decades. This month, I'm starting a role on my city's public art advisory board. I'm part of the fundraising committee at our local art museum, 2 major events a year built on creativity and collaboration, and every bit of it goes towards supporting arts education at the museum. That kind of shared purpose is deeply fulfilling in a way that surprises people who haven't experienced it yet. Practical entry points for contribution include things like SCORE, which matches retired business professionals with entrepreneurs who need mentorship. Local nonprofit boards, which are almost always looking for people with legal, financial, or leadership experience. Libraries, schools, literacy programs, community foundations. If you spent your career solving problems, there's a community somewhere that needs exactly the kind of expertise that you have. The second pathway is curiosity. Retirement may be the first time in your adult life when you get to learn something purely because it interests you, with no credential required, no application process, no performance review. This is an extraordinary freedom that most people don't fully claim. Take a class at your local arts center. Audit a course at a nearby college. Many universities offer free or reduced tuition for adults over 60. Join a book club, a writing group, a philosophy circle, a cooking class. Learn to throw pottery. Study a language you've always wanted to speak. Take a mahjong class and you'll meet people who want to start a group that plays regularly almost immediately. Last night, I attended a fiction author's talk at our local bookstore and met people who like to read what I read. The content matters less than the context. You're not taking the class for the subject. You're taking it to gain access to the other curious people who showed up on the same Tuesday morning because they wanted to keep growing too. Those rooms are full of your people. The third pathway is shared experience. This is the most underrated one. Humans bond fastest, not through conversation, but through doing things together over time. A neighbor who waves stays just a neighbor. A neighbor you walk with 3 times a week becomes a friend. Think about the activities in your life that are inherently social by structure, not just activities you do alone that you could theoretically do with others, but ones where the shared experience is baked in. A hiking group, for example, a garden club, a choir or community orchestra, a pickleball league, a travel group for solo travelers, a book club, a faith community, if that's part of your life. The woman in that comment is walking 5 miles a day. That single habit, if she chooses, could become the foundation of an entire social world. A walking group, a neighborhood loop with a regular companion, a hiking club with a monthly trail. The activity is already there. The community is just one invitation away. Now, here's what I see happen over and over again, and I want to save you from this. People often approach retirement community building the same way they approach their career. They make a plan, they research the options, and then they wait until they find the perfect fit before committing. They want to know it's going to be worth it before they invest any time in it. That's not how community works. Community is built through showing up before you're sure, through going to the thing even when you don't feel like it. Trust me. Through being willing to be new and a little uncomfortable and not yet known. The belonging comes after the showing up, not before. So my practical advice is this. In the first 6 months of retirement, say yes to more things than you feel comfortable. Not everything, but more than your introverted, cautious side wants to. You're not committing to anything. You're sampling. You're discovering. You're giving yourself the data you need to design the social life that actually fits who you are now, not who you were at 40. And give things more than one try. The first time you walk into a room full of strangers, everything feels awkward. The third time, you recognize faces. The 6th time, someone saves you a seat. That's how it works. The woman who inspired this video said something else I want to address directly. She said she's focusing on ways to enjoy life without spending money, which is wise, especially in those first months before the rhythm of retirement income feels fully settled. I want to tell you some of the richest social experiences in retirement cost nothing or almost nothing. Libraries are extraordinary social ecosystems. Book clubs, lecture series, author events, community gatherings, all free. Parks and trails and walking groups, free. Faith communities, free. Volunteering, free, and often they feed you lunch. Municipal arts programs, public lectures at universities, community theater, often free or very inexpensive. The most meaningful connections I have seen people build in retirement were built around shared purpose and interests and shared presence, not shared spending. You don't need a travel budget to find your people. You need to show up somewhere consistently and care about what's happening there. To the woman who wrote that comment, and to everyone who recognized themselves in her words, I want to say this. What you're in right now is not a gap between who you were and who you'll become. It is the design phase. And design phases are supposed to feel open and a little uncertain and full of possibility. That's not a problem to solve. That's the work you do. You spent years building a career. Now you get to build a life on your own terms, with your own hands, and in your own time. That is not a small thing. That is everything. If you're in this season right now and you'd like to think it through with some support, my calendar is open. I do a 60-minute retirement design consultation, and it's exactly the kind of conversation where we take what you're discovering and help you design it into something intentional. The link is in the description. And if this video spoke to something you're living right now, share it with someone who needs to hear it. That's how this community grows. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.